Hi, here is Markku Wilenius, and now I'm gonna give you a prediction what's gonna be at the end of this year. Now, usually, we who come from future studies, we say that, well, futures is about emerging issues, and we try to describe those emerging issues, big waves, trends, megatrends, weak signals, but we don't usually give exact predictions. But I'm gonna do something like that right now. First of all, what's gonna happen with this war in Ukraine? Russia, we're gonna lose it. We're gonna have a situation where actually Russia is already retreating from Ukraine, leaving all Ukraine for Ukrainians. Meanwhile, Putin disappears from the picture because for one reason or another, he's not gonna able to hold his power after this terrible defeat and what he has done to the world. Now, what happens after that? Then, obviously, we get rid of this grip that this war has had on the global economy. And global economies start slowly to speed up, accelerate, and find new ways as well. Because there is a second thing that is going to happen in this summer, which is that we are slowly but surely getting out of the pandemic times. It's not going to be easy, but we can already see that we are slowly sliding out, even if some countries still have a lot of problems, like for instance currently or recently China has had a lot of problems with that. By and large, by the end of the summer, we start to go back to the normal on the global scale. Again, that is also going to be a big push for our societies and for our economies. Now, as a result of this debacle and this horrific war in Ukraine, what is going to happen? The first thing that is going to happen is that there are a very new, much tighter coalitions in many parts of the world. For instance, this thing that Finland and Sweden decided by the end of May to join NATO, a big alliance that was very far as an idea before the war, but suddenly became very much like necessity. Now it's not only about the defense union, the NATO, but it's also a coalition that thinks about how we create more peaceful world. And this type of the stability that the world needs right now after the pandemic times and after this war is something where we can see also that not only NATO but the European Union and I would say a bit of a new alliance between United States and European Union will foster this kind of a new type of a collaboration. Interestingly, we're also going to see that China, who is so dependent on Western consumers, will be slowly drifting towards the West because they don't have, at the end of the day, any other option. Chinese economy is slowing down and they need to bow down a little bit and keep the connection to the West. Now, this will have several implications. First of all, when we think about the causes of destruction that we have seen in early this year, it has a lot to do with the point that we are over-dependent on fossil fuel economies, and it has come with a realization that we need to speed up the energy revolution, which is what we're gonna see happening. Because it's not only about what type of the sources of energy we are using, but are we self-sufficient and self-sufficient to what point? Now, previously that was not so much of the issue because we have been going through to a very rapid globalization, and with that time we have seen that we have kind of lost our idea what does this self-sufficiency actually mean, because there has been very much sort of a workable global supply chain. Now we start to think about more about how we actually, in any kind of a situation, can continue to work as a country, to operate as a country, and the economies of the countries need to be looked at from the perspective that can they hold up themselves, can they be resilient at any situation. And this was indeed also something that pandemic for itself also brought up the issues, particularly regarding the food security. But now it has become very much apparent that yes, we need this kind of international structures. Yes, we are even more kind of reliant on others on some issues. But when it comes to the run of our everyday life and economy, it's really good that we have a certain level of self-sufficiency. And this is indeed what both of these events, this war and the pandemic times, have fortified. So this is also something that we're going to see the latter part of this year of 2022, increasing the energy transition, which we have been calling for a long time, but now because of these events have been greatly accelerated. A second thing that will happen is that we are getting ourselves into very type of the hybrid model of working. So how do we organize our professional lives, our ways how we are contributing to our organizations has fundamentally changed as a result of this pandemic times. And now we are moving to the next stage. And this next stage is that each of the organization defines what type of the hybrid model they are using, how people can be some days out of the office, then in the office for the meetings and stuff. But more like a flexible model will really come, which is already what we have been seeing to come, but which will be more kind of established as a norm. And as a result of that, again, a lot of efficiency gains are found, because it's so important for us that once we do and focus on some things, it will really take time to make it happen in such a circumstances that where we find that we can still use the most of the time efficiently, which means that a lot of this kind of a futile going here and there just for the sake of 1 or 2 hours, we're gonna skip that one and just make effective communication through the virtual world, through the different means that we have today at our disposal. So 2022 as a whole looks very exciting. We have been going through very hard times in the last 2 years, and we still have to go over one big event that we are currently undertaking, which is the war in Russia. But after this war, I believe that we're going to see a much better time. And what is even more important is that we're going to sort of invent ourselves as societies as a result of this hardship. Because it's a kind of a Chinese proverb that every crisis is an opportunity, and in this case we're going to see that happening in a most interesting way. So let's see what really happens in 2022, but these are my predictions.